Hey everyone and welcome back. So wanted to get to some new announcements that have come in. A couple more things have been detailed, but also the Arrow releases have been announced for April. And as you can see behind me, this room is starting to change slightly. It's going to change probably a lot over the next couple weeks as I'm sort of getting into things in like bits and pieces. But the nice thing about that is that once it's done, I can finally do a new room tour, which is so long overdue. But getting to the announcements, so two previously announced titles have been detailed. First one is the new Vestron title coming on March 15th, which is of course Dream a Little Dream. And they released the artwork that's going to be on it, as well as it's going to have a couple of extras, including Young at Heart, a new interview with actor Corey Feldman, as well as When Lightning Strikes, an interview with executive producer Lawrence Kasanoff, theatrical trailers, TV spots, and a still gallery. And again, that's due out March 15th. Also coming March 15th is the new Scream Factory 4K release of The Sword and the Sorcerer, and they actually did give the details on what's going to be on it. So first up, it is going to have a new 4K transfer from the original camera negative, and it's going to be in Dolby Vision and HDR. It's going to have a new audio commentary track with Albert Pune, the director, and then the included Blu-ray is going to have also the film itself with the new transfer, as well as the rest of the extras, including Tales of the Ancient Empire, an interview with director Albert Pune, A Princess Tale, an interview with actress Kathleen Beller, Mightier Than the Sword, an interview with co-writer, co-producer John Stuckmeyer, Master of the Blade, an interview with editor Marshall Harvey, Specialists and the Effects, an interview with special makeup effects artist Alan Alpone, Brothers in Arms, an interview with special effects artist the Chiodo Brothers. That's awesome. I didn't realize they worked on that film. Big fan of theirs. For those of you who don't know, they did effects for a lot of films, but they also actually directed Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Dedicated to Jack Tyree Stuntman, the cast and crew remembers Stuntman Jack Tyree. And then the Trailers from Hell segment with editor Marshall Harvey on The Sword and the Sorcerer. Theatrical trailers, TV spot, and a still gallery. So definitely shaping up to be a really nice release. Again, that is coming March 15th. And Kino has announced two new titles as well. One of them is a re-release of an older Scream Factory title, and that is indeed New Year's Evil, and that is scheduled for April 12th, and that is actually getting a new 2K transfer. Now, the transfer that was on the Scream Factory release was actually sort of an older HD transfer, so it's good news that they're giving a new transfer, and honestly, it looks like, unless I'm missing something, they're porting over all of the extras that were also on the Scream Factory release, so that's good. And then finally coming later this year, no more details at the moment, but they are going to release the movie Grand Slam, which is I really like it. It's a film from, I think, the late 1967, and it's sort of a heist film, one of those Italian films with like an all-star cast. Blue Underground had actually put out the DVD like a long time ago, but I'm finally happy it's coming to Blu-ray. It's a really good film. It's probably best known because there's a sequence where they're pulling off the heist and they're going into a room, like the vault, that has all these lasers kind of going all over, and they have to maneuver through the lasers. Now, technically, it's a really good sequence, except the fact that it's pretty obvious that the lasers are basically like tubes, you know, that are going across that are supposed to like be representing the lasers. But outside of that, it's actually a fun sequence, and the film is actually really good, so I'm glad it's coming out. No details or release date just yet, but I did want to give it a shout out. And of course, now we get to Arrow's April announcement. It's always on usually on the last Friday of the month. So the first one coming for the US, UK, and Canada is a box set called Twisting the Knife, 4 films by Claude Chabrol. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And of course, this is the second set that they're releasing of his films, and this is going to have the films The Swindle, The Color of Lies, Nightcap, and The Flower of Evil. And The Swindle, Nightcap, and Flower of Evil are going to have new transfers, as well as the original French audio tracks with English subtitle option, and a wealth of extras, and it's due out April 26th. Next up, coming to the US and Canada, is one of the Shaw Brothers films, and this is The A-Diagram Pole Fighter, and that's getting a new 2K restoration from the original camera negative. It's going to have Cantonese, Mandarin, and English mono audio. ago, as well as a nice supplement of extras. But what's also cool is you can also order it directly from Arrow and get sort of this exclusive slipcover with the original poster artwork, which looks pretty cool. And that's coming April 5th. Then the next one is another one that's coming to the US, UK, and Canada as well. It's another smaller box set because it has 2 films in it, and it is the Road Cops and Racketeers, 2 crime thrillers from Enzo Castellari. And those are going to have the film The Big Racket and The Heroin Buster. And both films are getting new 2K transfers from their original camera negative, and it's going to have both the Italian and English audio tracks. And this is one I'm excited for because, again, Italian cinema, but also Enzo Castellari is a really great filmmaker. Big Racket is really good, and I'm pretty sure I've seen The Heroin Busters, but I'm sort of blanking on it at the moment. But I'm almost positive because I remember when I first sort of discovered his films, like I wanted to seek out as many of his films as I could. And I want to say, did Blue Underground put those out on DVD way back? I think they put out The Big Racket. I don't know about The Heroin Busters. Maybe somebody else put that one out. But anyway, so happy that his films are getting back out there again. And that is coming April 19th. And then the next 2 are going to be the 4K releases for April. First one is a re-release of their version of 12 Monkeys, but it is actually going to be in 4K. So another one of the upgrades of their 4K releases, which I'm happy to see. And that's a film that I think actually should look really great in 4K. You know, the visual style of that film I think would lend itself pretty well to the format. And again, that's basically just a re-release. I mean, if you already have the Blu-ray and you're happy with the Blu-ray, or you haven't made the jump to 4K, like, you're not missing out on anything. It's just, if you want it in 4K, that option to upgrade from there. And again, that is due out April 26th. And then finally, probably the big one, at least to me anyway, is they're releasing, now it is the UK only, so do take that into consideration, but there will be a Blu-ray release as well as a new 4K release of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. And both the Blu-ray and the 4K release will be in their part of their limited edition line. Now the Blu-ray is going to be region B locked. Obviously 4K is region free as a format. Now for those of you in the US who are wondering, like, well, why are we getting it? Well, in the US, our Dark Sky Films actually owns Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. And I believe, as far as I can tell, this is actually everything that was, so if you have the anniversary Blu-ray of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, it pretty much seems almost identical to that. I think it's even their transfer, that the restoration that was done just a couple of years ago. The only thing new that it looks like it has that has not been previously released is a new commentary track, but it does also carry over the older commentary track with director John McNaughton. Now, it's possible that Dark Sky Films may release their own 4K version of Henry at some point. I hope they do. That would be nice. But for those of you who are okay with importing titles, if you already have the Dark Sky Blu-ray, again, if you live in the US, obviously if you're in the UK, definitely get the Arrow release. But if you're in the US, definitely the Dark Sky one is perfect. I think almost identical. I mean, outside you don't get the limited edition aspects with some of the, you know, poster reprints and stuff like that. But if you are looking for that one, I will actually link to that in the description below. Obviously, for the 4K release, you do want to try and seek that out. You can order that directly from Arrow or from Zavi or Diabolic DVD, which is where I pre-ordered mine from. And that is scheduled for April 18th. So it's kind of cool that we're getting a 4K release. Now, it was shot on 16mm film, so obviously the film can technically only look so good, but I am actually excited to see just it in its sort of full glory, because that's a film that is like, it's obviously, it's hard to watch on one end, but from a filmmaking standpoint, it's amazing of what John McNaughton was able to do. I believe that was his first film and had very little money, and he just really, like, if I remember the story correctly, he was actually hired to just make a really quick, low-budget horror film that the producers could then just turn around and sell. And instead, he made this very, you know, disturbing film about a serial killer, and it was just like not what the producers had wanted. But, you know, he made a film that has really just stood the test of time, instead of just making sort of just a quick cash-in film. So I'm definitely super excited for Henry. Like I said, I already got my pre-order in. So definitely let me know your thoughts on a lot of these announcements, and if you're planning to pick up any of these. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.